I'd like to give you some ideas as to what happens in this part of the body, in the hands, in the embrace. Let me begin by saying that one of the things that I hear a lot when working with dancers from other styles, or working with choreographers from other styles of dance for shows and things like that, is that whenever they work with Argentine tango dancers, they have this thing. They always say, it's difficult to work with them because the hands, the arms are dead. Now, what they mean by that is that for dancers of Argentinian tango, the arms don't have long developed movements like you do in other styles. So there's very little chance for a choreographer to sculpt movement in the upper part of the body, while leg work is quite intricate in Argentinian tango. We don't really shape the embrace. We don't really shape the dance. We tend to have very little movement and expression in the hands. And this is not a completely unfair comment. Is quite an accurate comment, because what happens is that in Argentinian tango, the embrace developed as a tool to connect the two partners, to connect the two centers, to communicate to one another, but it never actually developed into a choreographic tool, into something that gives shape to the dance. And there are some very good reasons for this. And well, they're going to become evident in our little topic tonight. I think I told Isabella this week. There was a couple in tango, quite famous. It's some years ago, called Rodolfo and Gloria Dincel. They were known as a couple as Los Dinceles, and if you want to, you can check YouTube for a few videos made by the two guys. Now, Rodolfo and Gloria were the first people who actually made an effort to write down sequences of Argentinian tango and make the first effort to have a notation of this dance. It's an incredibly complex notation and not our subject tonight. But I remember that they wrote a lot of books about tango, about sequences and how to train and how to develop sequences. And if you can read the notation, they're interested. If you can't, well, they're kind of esoteric. They also created in Buenos Aires a tango university where you can actually get a university degree, okay, just from tango. And I remember in an interview, Rodolfo Dincel was saying something. He was trying to explain to people that the embrace, which in Spanish is abrazo, is not in the arms, is in the body. And the way in which he did that, he said that abrazo should be read separately, a separately, brazo. And he said that there meant without. Abrazo, I remember him saying, actually means, he said, sin brazos, without arms. And He tells a funny story of, all the times where people had weapons in both arms, and whenever they met, they would just, bump their chests together. Obviously, it's a romanticized story, but the key idea there, what he wanted to transmit, was the connection, the transmission uh, is not in the arms. In a very good sense, abrazo does not refer to the hands and the arms. Abrazo in Argentinian tango refers to the magic of the embrace, and this magic does not come out of the hug. It comes out of an intention from both partners to connect their centers. So it comes from the intention of my body being close to the other body. It doesn't come from my tendency to hug, keep close, um, snuggle against the other person. We very often look at the embrace as a fixed shape, a frame. Now, why do we do that? Well, especially in Europe, and especially I think in the UK and Eastern Europe, the very, very strong ballroom tradition comes with the idea that the embrace is supposed to provide a frame. One of the earliest descriptions of a beautiful couple in a social dance was the man acts as a frame for the woman, like in a picture. Okay, the frame and the picture's there. The picture's the woman, beautiful, okay, levitating above the ground in a waltz or something, and the man is a frame, okay, strong, okay, perhaps ornate from time to time, but the point is to keep the picture there centered. And in Eastern Europe, there's a strong tradition of ballroom dancing. Obviously, the UK is the worldwide capital of ballroom dancing. And this idea of frame seems to have found its way into tango, and not only tango, in also in other dances, in popular dances such as salsa sometimes, and bachata and things like that. But the abrazo in Argentinian tango was not meant to be a frame. Sure, it's meant to support. It is meant to provide some sort of communication, but it's not meant to be rigid or unmovable. It's not meant to be, and this is the important point, a fixed point of reference, a fixed frame of reference. It doesn't. If in ballroom the embrace has a certain frame which is not movable, you move the body and you move the hands. In Argentinian tango, there is a flexibility in the embrace. And this flexibility happens in the hands because the embrace, abrazo, is not in the hands, is in the body. We communicate with the body because this communication is faster and can send the message as to what movement comes next, in what musical accent comes next, okay? And it is understood directly into the center, okay? It is not projected from the two sides from the arms. Now, it's difficult, and I've seen several people in several cultures approaching tango and being a bit taken aback at the beginning as to how close the partners are and how much contact there is in Argentinian tango. And after, years and years ago, after several experiments, of trying to make people dance closer, because this is where you discover the movement and, connect the body. The arms are there just as a general enveloping frame. We discover that it's actually best to let people find their own distance where they're comfortable with one another. Forcing people close together when the culture does not encourage them to be this close together has as its main effect a certain rejection of this closeness, especially in the initial stages. Over time, people will choose to prefer closer embrace, closer and closer embrace, but it's not going to happen immediately. So I think we also need to remember that this connection, this enveloping shape, is a process. It's going to develop. It's not we need to keep the arm in this position, or the closed side or the open side, and so on and so forth. And you keep it there and you don't move it, and then you continue to dance, and at one point it becomes comfortable. It doesn't quite work like that. The way it does is you need to embrace with the body, as an actor friend of mine was saying. It's the body that embraces. The hands are just inconsequential. It's the body that embraces, and in time you will find a relaxed position. So two things so far. It's the body, not the arms. So let's shift the focus here. Okay, it's an embrace of the body, as if your ribs embrace the other person, not the arms. And secondly, it's something that changes over time. It changes with how close you want to get to the partner, how comfortable you are with your own balance, etc., etc. But from the very beginning, the embrace, the abrazo, has a certain quality which it will never lose, and this is something we need to focus on. And then the abrazo starts to grow organically and really help us. Now, in any dance or in any movement, we have two essential qualities. One of them is a quality called développé, okay, where the movement extends a lot, yeah? Like you extend the leg outside your body and you maintain it there, or you extend the arm, you extend the neck, whatever. And the other quality is enveloppé, where the movement goes towards the inside, towards the center of your body. If your leg, develops and goes to the side, when you bring it back, it's an envelope. You need to think of the abrazo, of the embrace, as essentially an envelope movement. It's a movement towards the center, the inside of your body, this center, okay, your sternum. The embrace is here, there. It is not a developing of the arms to the side. Okay. And Elena, can you please mute your mic? Can you please mute the mic? Thank you. Okay. So it's something that is circled in, okay, towards the center of your body. Imagine, without using the arms, imagine your body is organizing itself in order to embrace this hypothetical center in front of you. The role of the abrazo is to create a center of the couple. If I dance in front of my partner by myself, and partners here, we have I have my own center of balance, my own chest posture, and the partner has the same. But the moment we connect in the arms, or even in the fingers, or more in the body, our own centers are not that important anymore. We need to take into consideration the center of gravity, the center of balance of the couple. And the abrazo creates as a point of interest, as a point of focus, the center of the couple. This enveloping motion needs to stay centered in the center of the couple all the time. At no moment in the dance, well, some moments, okay, like soltadas and maybe other things like that, okay, do we move outside the couple? If my partner's here, I'm not going to go over there. Okay, it's not going to help me very much. I need to stay here so that information is transmitted directly from body to body. Yeah, it's not about the position of the arms. It's about an envelope motion. Okay, that starts in the shoulder blades and finishes in the center of my body, and my partner will do the same. Okay, it doesn't matter which role you dance, if your expression or intention. Okay, it's the same idea of making your back round and enveloping, in imagination at least, okay, the center of the couple with your chest. This motion is going to grow into the embrace, into the abrazo. And where do we keep the hands? Well, okay, it depends. It depends on a lot of things. There are several factors which will dictate where we keep our actual hands. One of the things is, what kind of position do we prefer when we dance? Very broadly speaking, tango can be danced in three positions. Closed position, okay, also known as abrazo cerrado, okay, which can have different shapes. Sometimes it's completely parallel, sometimes it's in a little bit of a V. Then a slightly more distant position with occasional contact or very, very tenuous contact. Okay, let's say a medium position, or an open position where the two partners are maintaining the same distance, but they're not really in contact. Now, bear in mind, when I say close position, medium, or open, I do not mean that our axes tilt. I mean I am in my axis, autonomous, irrespective of the role I dance, and I have a certain distance from my partner. And I will maintain this distance for the entire duration of the dance. Okay. Now, the position of the arms will depend on which position I prefer. Obviously, if you prefer close position, the arms will envelop more around the other person's body. And you will get better, faster, and more, how should I put it, not mediated communication. It goes directly to the center. The more distant you are, this communication will obviously take longer to train. Okay, open position takes longer to train. Also, the position of the arms will depend on the relative height of the two partners. If you have a leader, an intention role, who's very, very, very tall, and the partner is not quite so tall, obviously his or her arms will not be able to go high upon the leader. If you switch the height difference, okay, it's the same idea. Okay, while the leader has access to the balance center, the gravity center of the follower, okay, the follower has her arms on top of his shoulder. So that's why the position of the arm changes with the weight, with the height as well. It also changes depending on personal preference. For instance, there still is a certain fashion in European milongas for followers to go with a draped arm like this, enveloping the back of the leader. Okay, this is something which is, it appears and disappears in the history of tango. It was never a requirement. Sometimes it appears. Sometimes it's not so popular. Maybe about 6-7 years ago, there was a position of the closed arm being very strong on the bicep of the leader. Okay, so the specific position of the arms changes due to several factors. What never changes is the inside quality of the body, because don't forget what Rodolfo Dincel said. Okay, the embrace is without the arms, is in the body. The body moves. The arms are there as a limitation, as an outside limitation of the embrace. Now, of course, the embrace for each of the roles has certain specific, let's say, uses. For the intention role, for example, the backhand is supposed to be between the shoulder blades of the partner, okay, in order to support and keep the upper body, okay, in a good position. Okay. Equally, the hand of the expression role, the follower, okay, needs to have as much contact as possible in the forearm region, okay, so that you can detect a lot of movement. Yeah, but this is not necessary if you dance in close body contact. Okay, of course, there are specific uses of the hands. The position of the hands doesn't come, though, at a cost of posture. What I mean is that you need to be aware of your balance and your straight line and your straight axis and develop the hands from this position, not compromise the axis in order to create the embrace. Now, I think here there is a little bit of confusion very often between how close the position of the partners is and how perpendicular onto the ground the axis of each partner is. Sometimes people dance like this, okay, and we believe that what happens is that the embrace moves forward. The embrace hasn't moved forward. Your axis is moved forward, okay, namely in the balls of your feet. And because you're organizing your weight to charge the balls of your feet, the arms look as if they're going forward. Add to this that what we need to do in order to maintain balance, good balance and good posture in the dance is to be able to have always our shoulders with ourselves. The shoulder needs to stay with me, not go up or out towards the partner. It doesn't matter which role you dance. The moment your shoulder is going up, then or out, actually in front, okay, what happens is that you'll have to work more for your balance. So we want to embrace with the body and use the elbow, use the wrist, but not necessarily use the shoulders in an upward motion, in this motion. We say keep the shoulders with the posture and send the arms to the embrace. Now, if you do this, you will discover that the center of the couple is in a triangle, and this is the idea for today, is in a triangle between your elbows, 1, 2, and the center of your chest. Whenever you practice, even if you practice individually, imagine that the center of the couple is in a triangle between the center of your chest and your 2 elbows. Now, it's not an equilateral triangle. It's maybe a triangle of an odd shape, but it is a triangle, and this triangle is in front of your body here. My body is not going to the triangle. I am upright, and I create this triangle by moving my arms here. You can do this as a leader, as a follower, it doesn't matter. Let's take, for instance, an example where we retreat the arms, doesn't matter in which role, we retreat the arms up to the point where my elbows are in line with my body. Now, at this moment, my center and the line of my elbows are in one flat, straight line. There is no center here. In order for me and my partner to work together and to create movement together, we both need to concentrate on a point which is in front of us and outside us, in front of our center. We both protect and embrace this hypothetical center of the couple. And a good way to identify this position is, if you practice in a couple, to use a practica embrace. Practica embrace means no open side, no closed side, just both sides equal, okay? Kind of arm on top of the other arm. And you can see almost clearly, okay, that your elbows are in front of you and your chest is kind of rounding inside and creating this triangle where you keep the center of the cup. Because our traditional tango embrace is not symmetrical like a practica embrace, we use the two hands differently in terms of function and differently in terms of joints. What do I mean by this? In order to eliminate the confusion between left and right in a tango couple, because one guy's left is the other partner's right, we refer to the two sides of the couple as the open side, where the open hand is, which of course is left for the leader and right for the follower, and the other side as the closed side, okay? Obviously, for the intention role, this is the right side, and for the expression role, it is the left side. Now, the two sides do not function the same way, and they have their own specific roles. Let's start with the closed side. The right hand of the intention role is on the back of the partner, and his or her right hand is on his back. It is completely possible to dance only using this hand, which should show us that this is the important side of the embrace. One proverb in tango is that in tango, we don't have a full embrace. We only have half an embrace. What we mean by that is that we only use the closed side to completely embrace. The other one is more conventional, let's say it's open. And try it. If you have a partner, try it. Try to move using only the closed side. You'll see it's extremely easy. Now, the closed side has one important characteristic. It can open in the sense of increase the distance between the two partners, and it can glide on the other person's back. It doesn't stay in the same position all the time. Okay? This is the most important characteristic. Now, by contrast, the open side is much more difficult to manage. It doesn't go on the back of the partner, okay, for any of the roles. And if you try to dance only using the open side, you'll discover it takes a lot more coordination and concentration. This is not an embrace. It's only a set of joints going to the shoulder, to the posture, in order to transmit to the other person where my movement is. In other words, the main purpose of the position of the arms is to give the other guy access to the information about your movement. Now, the open side cannot close. It's impossible to close. Even if you dance in this position with maybe a closed arm or like this a little bit, this tends to stay almost in the same position relative to your own body. So it's not as mobile as the closed side. The open side is has reduced mobility. Now, when we are talking about the open side, we need to remember that the joint that will do most of the sensing and most of the adaptation is the wrist, not the elbow and not the shoulder. That's the important thing. So, very simply put, you want to improve your open side, make sure you can feel your wrist mobile, not blocked. And that works for both roles. Make sure your wrist is mobile. It can move. It can sense pressure. Okay. It can detect movement in the other person's body, not the elbow and not the shoulder. Now, on the close side, on the embracing side, okay, the wrist is important, but the key joint there is the elbow, not the wrist. The elbow on the close side has the highest sensitivity. It's gonna open, close, slightly lift, and it works for both roles in the same way. Sometimes it opens a little bit more if I need more space in a forward position. Maybe it lifts a little bit, maybe it lowers a little bit. It's not this, it is this. Now, there are other exercises we can do by ourselves, not in a couple. Yes, there are. And I prepared some for you in the exercise sheet. Let me just quickly run through some ideas. Now, one of the first things we can do is we need to walk being very aware of where our posture is and very gently trying to move our arms, whatever we want, but in front of our body, not to the sides of our body, in front. Try to move the wrists and see where they can rotate and how they can move. Try to move the elbows and be very aware of movement in the shoulders. You really don't want forward movement in the shoulder. Okay, you want some freedom in the shoulder. It feels like as if the shoulder blades are pulled back and down and towards each other. That gives good shoulder mobility without making the shoulder leave the axis. So walk trying to be sensitive as to the rotation possibilities of the wrists and the elbows. Another good thing we can do is find an object, and I encourage lots of people to use large pillows, but not heavy, light pillows, but quite large. Or maybe a rolled up duvet or something like that. Something which you need to hold in front of your body, but you shouldn't be able to squeeze into your chest. We need to be able to hold this object, okay? And I'll send you a video tomorrow. Jibril will send you a video tomorrow. You'll see such an object, which is a rolled up exercise mat, okay? And I'm holding it here, yeah, where the center of the couple is. And I'm going to try to move, okay, maintaining that object in that position. Now, the moment you start walking like this, you will discover that in order to support this object, you need to activate your back. You can't allow this hypothetical partner to pull on the hands and pull on the shoulders and make you step. You want the information about the step to be sent into your body so that the step is disconnected from the movement of the arms. It is as if the step happens underneath and the embrace, the arms are transported to the next step. And this is what choreographers refer to when they say that in Argentinian tango, the arms are dead. In Argentinian tango, the action happens in the legs, in the footwork. That's why we call it a ground dance, not an air dance. it's in the ground, okay, onto the floor. Okay? There is no pulling or pushing motion here. Okay, it is an elasticity of the body which is being transported by very energetic and dynamic footwork. The envelope quality of the body in the embrace is always kept. Even if you don't have a good day and maybe you don't feel comfortable with the height or you don't know where to put your arm or keep your fingers, that's not important. What is important is to keep your posture for yourself, project the center, and then start curving the center so that you envelop in your chest the center of the couple. I remember years ago, I heard a good friend, an Argentinian teacher, he was talking about embrace as if you put your arms not around the other guy, but under his or her skin. Okay, it's a melting of the bodies, and what he was trying to create was this: we need to give each other access to the movement of the center of the body, not of the arms. As usual, Gilbert will send you tomorrow an exercise sheet with some of the points I made tonight and some exercises. And of course, some short videos of me walking around with a rolled up exercise mat and talking maybe a little bit about the movement of the arms, of the close side of the embrace and the open side of the embrace in both roles. And of course, next week, we'll be doing what we did this week. We'll be meeting in private sessions, and I'll look over your exercises and talk about this subject or review the subject the way we did today. Okay? Thank you so much. This was it from me for tonight.
Thanks, Daniel.